Good morning and welcome to Kramer's Corner with a daily technical update. It is Tuesday the 3rd of March and this video is for educational purpose only. There's no recommendation advice whatsoever intended. So let's see what the market has done after a little bit of turmoil yesterday. Well, actually buyers came in from the get-go here. We can see that market open here has Nasdaq 100 opened lower. But buyers came in through the session and closed back above 24,954. So that was a pretty strong move or indication that there's still buyers out there. However, if we're looking at what's happening in the pre-market here, once again, this is the future. Now they are back here. Well, it's not the buyers in the market because it's closed, but this is the futures traders. So they are sending it down once again here pre-market like they did yesterday. So that will be key also towards what will be going on later today. We have 24,500 on the Nasdaq cash index. That is still key support that should be observed. S&P 500 obviously also buyers came in from the beginning and pushed it back above the cloud area. So we are still slightly positive, but in the bigger picture, I'll actually say we're just trading range bound. We have the S&P 500 mini future also dipping lower here this morning, or selling off this morning 0.8% lower and still in this cloud here, so basically sideways. But we can see negative sentiment with a negative undertone. We're also below the 55 and the 100 moving average. The Dow Jones index future managed to close above 48,488. It bounced from the 100 moving average yesterday, and that is key. If it takes out the lows from yesterday, then I think we could see it down to 47,800. So still a little bit uncertainty on nervousness on the stock market. We have the small cap index, the Russell 2000 index sector ETF here. Also buying came in from the opening and closed back above the cloud. So still positive here for the small caps in US. It's a little bit different in Asia. We have Seng that sold off yesterday, continues to sell off today, and is now pushing hard towards 25,500. And look at this. If we really, so we have a shoulder here, we have a head there, and we have a shoulder here. It's not the most perfect one. Excuse me. It's not the most perfect one, but nevertheless, and we have a bit of a neckline going on here. So there is potential down to 25,500, possibly all the way down to 25,150 area. There's some stronger support here with also the moving average 200 coming up here just around 25,500. Nikkei also has been hit by selling and is currently testing. This is the Nikkei future testing the 56,085 support. Could push down to test the rising trend line there, and I wouldn't be surprised to see that the next few days. In Europe yesterday, sell-off, it was hit by sell-off, 2.5% lower on the EuroStoxx50, closing just above support there at 5,957. So what is the outlook for today? Well, let's see here pre-market what it does. It's actually continued selling below the 55 moving average here on the EU50 ECFD slash. It's more or less based on the futures. It's based on the futures here. So I think we could see it dipping down to the 786 retracement there at 5,900. That is the 786 retracement of the uptrend there. So that, and it is also the upper part of the cloud. So I think we could see that being tested. It will be interesting to see what the RSI will do there on the 40 threshold. Will it bounce or will it close below? DAX index also obviously beaten yesterday 2.5%. We are in the cloud here, still positive sentiment, but we can see that the uptrend has been broken. So we are kind of a neutral position, but I think we will see it pushing lower here, at least today, maybe the coming days. And we can see a pre-market, the CFDs is pushing lower currently trading below its 100 moving average, could push down to around 24,200, where we have the 200 moving average coming up, giving some support, and the lower part of the cloud support also. On the FX market, euro dollar yesterday took out the support there at 117.40 that we talked about. It took out the falling trend line there, and it pushed lower towards the 786 retracement, and actually currently trading below it and trading around the 200 moving average. RSI back below the 40 threshold. So now we are in a bearish trend, and a negative sentiment. We had the bearish trend confirmed yesterday, and could push lower. Let's see here the next few days. There is a possibility we could get down to around the 116, 115, 68 support down here, these lows here. It is not unlikely at the moment. We can also see 55 moving average turned around. So we are in a, it is in a downside pressure, also below the 100 moving average. So keep an eye on it. Maybe it will bounce back a little bit here throughout the session. But it's not that it looks quite heavy again. So the medium-term target of 124 is on pause or has been demolished already. Sterling dollar coming up here, also sold off both yesterday and today. Actually dipped down to the 133 here yesterday, bounced a bit, but now the sellers are still back and could have another go at the support here, stronger support here at 133. If it takes it out, well, then there's risk lower to 132. Negative sentiment also on the RSI, downtrend, lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high, and now a lower low. Maybe a little bit of bounce, and then we could see it pushing lower. That's at least what it tells us at the moment. I wouldn't be surprised to see a bit of a counter trend if it gets back to down to the 133 there once again. Euro sterling, a lot of volatility in the pound sterling here, which was spiking up yesterday. It looked like, oh, we are going to push much higher, and then it collapsed, and then it's trying again to gather some strength and push higher. So really frustrating at times, this euro sterling. It's quite volatile because in reality it's mostly euro dollar and sterling dollar they're trading, and this affects the euro sterling here. So if you really want to know what's going on, you have to look at those two other currency pairs. However, we are above the 55 moving average. We're trading around the 100 moving average. The 200 coming up there. We have positive sentiment, slightly bullish trend. So a bullish undertone, but a lot of volatility. So be careful out there if you're trading that one. There's no clear signal at the moment on euro sterling. Dollar yen. Dollar yen pushed to yesterday to the resistance and peak here at 157.70 yesterday, sitting back a little bit. If it really takes it out, the peak from yesterday, then expect a push up towards 159. RSI just turned slightly positive with a close yesterday above 60 threshold, but it is marginal, so I would be a little bit concerned. However, if it takes out the past few days lows here, just around 155.5, then downtrend could resume. However, as we can see, all moving averages rising. We are above the 100, we are above the 55. So it seems like we could push the dollar yen higher in the next few days. Moving on to euro yen. Resistance here at 184.75. It seems it didn't get all the way up to 185. And the RSI 60 threshold was rejected. So it could actually resume downtrend. So what I will do, if it was me trading this, which I'm not trading euro yen, then I will add Fibonacci. There we are to this. So currently around the 38.2 retracement. If it takes out the lows from yesterday at 183, then I think we will see it drop back to 182.30, possibly all the way down to 181.65. but then we have the 100 moving average coming up, giving some support. If it takes out the peak there at 184.80, well, then expect a push towards previous peaks there, just below 187. We have the Aussie yen pushing higher yesterday, so still in a bullish trend, setting back a little bit, but the trend is intact. But there's a warning sign with the RSI declining. Sterling yen quite volatile. Dipped lower yesterday. They bounced to the 55 moving average, being rejected. And as I think I said it, we could be range bound here between 207 and 212 for quite some time. It needs to break out of that range. I think it will be to the upper side, given the fact that we have all moving averages rising, but I need confirmation, and I don't have confirmation on the RSI, the 60 threshold there, that needs to be broken to push higher and confirm the bullish trend. Aussie dollar, well, basically range trading also here, 71.50 and 70 to the downside. That's the range we need to break out for direction. Dollar Canada, it is 137.25 resistance. That is key. We can see the 55 moving average really giving it's a hard time. So really strong resistance there. Support here at 135.85. If it takes that out, then a downtrend is back in a session. We still have negative sentiment, so the risk is to the downside. But keep an eye on those resistance levels also. Sterling Canada continuing lower, dipped lower yesterday, bounced a bit towards the end of session, and then overnight again the selling pressure is coming back, and we could see another test at the 182. EURSwiss bounced strongly yesterday up to the 786 retracement, but it needs to get back above 91.50 to demolish this bearish trend there, and then we'll be back in a neutral position. So keep an eye on that level for the next 2 days. Otherwise, I think maybe we could slide back lower or be range bound in this range here for quite some time. Dollar Swiss 78.17, so 78.20. I always add a little bit to the upper side and subtract a little bit to the downside. So we also, what we can see, we had 78.18, so 78.20. If it starts saying out that, well, then we could see a push up to around 79 and the 138.2 projection of this correction there, and that it could be in the cards. However, we have negative sentiment still on the RSI. But if it can get back up there, then maybe it can build something. And we can actually see short term, we had this high here, this low here is higher than this low. So we are actually starting to build a bullish trend because this peak here is higher than this. So we actually have higher high, higher low, and higher high. Will it follow through and further confirm a bullish trend? That would be key towards. It's not there just yet. The dollar index has established a bullish trend, higher highs, higher lows, higher highs, pushing above the 786 retracement, above all the moving averages here that are slightly turning around. Positive sentiment on the RSI, 99.30 could be reached here within the next few days, possibly, but do expect some setbacks. There will, of course, be some corrections. It's never in a straight line, but the 99.30 we have some resistance, so keep an eye on those levels. A lot of volatility in the metals markets also. Gold spot spiked higher above the 200% projection of this little correction there. So what we can do, we can remove that now. We're trading around the 786 retracement of this sell-off there. But what I will do now is I will add a Fibonacci to the entire uptrend here, and then we can see some levels. So we could have a level around 5,080 at 28, which is a 38.2 retracement. And if we measure from this level there, well, maybe that is also close to the 61.8 here at 5,060. That could be observed. I'm not quite sure we will set back that much because we are in a bullish trend, we are in a positive sentiment, and I think we will push higher eventually. and I think we could see a pushback towards the previous peak there, just below 5,600. But for now, expect a little bit of a setback, possibly down to around 5,200, 5,130. Also, the silver has been set back yesterday a little bit earlier than expected. I actually expected to touch 100. It didn't do that. So now we can see it setting back, currently taking back 50% of this uptrend here. The 55 moving average is giving it some support here, also the cloud support. But look at this, we had the RSI being rejected at 60 threshold, and that was a key thing to happen, so it didn't go into a full-blown bullish trend. So we could see it setting back further here towards 81, maybe down to around 87, maybe even 77 level, but be careful with that, but it is not unlikely. It needs to take out the peak from yesterday at 96.45 to reestablish the bullish trend. The platinum also sitting back, also RSI being rejected there at the 60 threshold on the RSI, and we could see it sitting back here to 21.25, maybe down to 2,053 here in the coming days. And of course, if you're looking at intraday, then you can see how it's being sold off at the moment. You have then the copper that also got rejected. It spiked above 611.55 a couple of days ago. Now sitting back, we could see it testing the rising trend line again. But I think we will see it higher eventually, but it needs to close above this peak there to do so. So for now, expect a bit of a setback to further setback to copper. So the oil market and the gas market is really nervous at the moment due to, of course, the conflict in the Middle East and what's going on with the Hormuz Strait and everything. So expect crude oil to stay elevated for quite some time. We can see that it opened high yesterday, set back, and now it's bouncing again. And I think it will stay elevated for quite some time. There's potential up to these peaks here, just around 77.50, 78. But then we have the 200 weekly moving average there coming down, giving it some resistance to the other side. Brent crude oil, more or less the same picture, obviously. 82.60 area, key strong resistance, currently trading around the 200 weekly moving average. If it takes out that level there, well, then there is potential higher to what's 90, but expect a lot extreme volatility also on Brent crude oil, obviously. If it starts closing this gap we saw here from yesterday, well, then we could see it sitting back to what, 72.5. European NatGas, extremely volatile yesterday, as we saw a massive spike up to 138.2 projection of this correction there, just around 48.77, and then a setback. It hasn't opened just yet as I'm shooting this video here, but we're trading around this area here of 43 and 30. That is a key resistance that is spiked above. So let's see what it will do today. Will it sit back a little bit, or will it keep pushing higher? The US NatGas reacted just a tad, but not that much. But you can see it's crawled back above $3. Could crawl back towards 3.40. On the interest rate market and US 10-year Treasury yields, strong bounce after dipping below 4% to 3.87, bouncing above 4% again, and could bounce further up to around 4.10. On the European yields, also a strong bounce yesterday, and it's of course the fear that this will spill into prices and thereby rising inflation. So we saw European 10-year bouncing from the key support here and strong support at 263, 264, and could bounce further here when it starts trading shortly in the European session. 274 next, and 277 is also a level to watch out for. Also, the UK 10 bounced towards 437, 438, could bounce further up to 442 maybe, possibly higher up to 465, but let's see. Sorry, 446, that's what it said. The 10-year in Japan also keeps itself above the 204. That is key, but the key one is at 2%. Bitcoin and Ethereum not really doing much, still 60,000, that is key support, and on Ethereum at 1742. All right, that was a quick one today. I have to run after this recording, so have a nice day and keep charting out there.